Hello guys, and welcome back to another tutorial. I know it's been a while. In this tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to draw as a beginner. So I'll try not to make it that long. Hopefully you learn something from this. So if you already have your software installed, that's the Adobe Illustrator software, first thing you want to do is to create an artboard that we'll be drawing on. So you can do it in two ways. I'm using the Adobe Illustrator CC 2018. So if you're using a version below that, you might not see this. So just come over to File, New. So from here you have to choose whether you want your artboard to be in pixels or inches. For me, I make use of inches. So just click here, you can select inches. I use 18 by 18, which is a square artboard. So name your artboard. Let's say this is practice 1 or there. Just name it whatever you want. Then leave every other thing the way it is and create. So the next thing you want to do is to import your picture. So let's reduce the size of our artboard. Let's zoom out. So in my previous videos I've shown some shortcuts, but I'll still say them in this tutorial so you can keep up. There are many ways to do this. So if you want to zoom out, just hold Ctrl or Command on your keyboard and then hit minus. So Ctrl minus to zoom out, or CMD on the Mac. Then Ctrl plus to zoom in. So we want to import our picture. There are two ways to do this. You can come over to File, Place, then from your File Explorer you locate the picture you want to import. So this is the picture I'll be using for this tutorial. Place. Now just anywhere you want, just click and drag. Then you have your picture. Now we want to scale it so it fits into our artboard. So just hold Shift on your keyboard, go to any corner. So I want to drag it from this corner. So it's going to scale it. Then you hold Shift, you place it however you want. So you can use the move the direction key on your keyboard to adjust it however you want. So when you get your desired position, you reduce, make sure this is selected. We are on the selection to click on this, make sure it's selected. If it's selected, you will see this outline like this. So reduce the opacity, let's say 90, 80 works for me. Okay, this is nice. The opacity, this does not mean you have to always use 80 for every picture. No, you can always adjust it depending on the picture you're working on. So lock this layer, create a new layer. Now there are three main tools we are going to be using for the process of drawing this. That's the pen tool, the paintbrush tool or the brush tool, and then the pencil tool. The pencil tool and the brush tool comes in handy if you're using a drawing tablet, and I'm using a drawing tablet for this tutorial. But if you're using the pen tool, you can still follow me. So on the new layer, let's zoom in. If you want to zoom in and you're using a tablet or you're using a mouse, hold Ctrl and spacebar. It switches your, remember we're still on the selection tool, but it switches the tool to the zoom tool. So you can click and drag in or click and drag out to zoom in and zoom out. So these are some shortcuts I use. So let's zoom in. If you want to adjust it without zooming in, you want to just let's say we want to go over to this side but we don't want to zoom in, you can use the hand tool, and that's the space bar. So if you hit the space bar, you can, so That's just it. All right, so the first thing we want to do is to create our outline or line art. So on the new layer, you can use the pen tool, the pencil tool, either of the two. You can use it to create your outline. The brush tool too. So these are the three tools we'll be using. If you're using a mouse, let's just use the pen tool so that you will follow along. Click, drag. So we're starting with the hair. Don't worry about the fill for now. So this is a white fill and a black stroke. Stroke is just at the border of the shape you made. So we don't want any stroke, we just want the fill. So select this, click on this fill. Don't double click, just click on it once and then come over here, none. So we have just our stroke now, which is black. Swap this. Okay, so if you zoom out, you can see now with the pen tool you can continue that way, but I'll be using the pencil tool, so I'm a little bit faster. So just create shape like this. As a beginner, you don't have to be too precise. Just draw it the way you see it. We're just trying to draw out the hair, so it doesn't have to be on a professional level. So draw this out. You can see I'm using smaller shapes. I can easily draw everything at once, but it's going to make the shape complex. You saw what I did here. This is just to give it that hair-like feel. If you want to use the pen tool to do that, just same thing. Just okay, you can see I mistakenly deleted this, so Ctrl Z to take back. Then if you want to redo everything you've done, Ctrl Shift then Z, it brings back everything. So CMD Shift then Z on the Mac. Now let's just use the pen tool for this place so you can see what we are doing. For those using the mouse, just click, curve, curve, click, curve, click. So I'm going to hasten this up so that we don't end up wasting too much of our time. Okay, so that was it for those using the pen tool, so you don't get lost. So back to the pencil tool, we just have to create, like I said, try to make it a non-complex shape. Don't try to do everything at once, no. So make this curve so that it looks real, and then when you get to the last, this thing is going to automatically create a closed shape. So you can see that I'm able to edit this shape. If yours is not able to do that, just come over here to your pencil to double click, then make sure you select edit selected parts. That way you can be able to adjust any shape you've made. So like I said, as a beginner, you don't have to make yours look professional. You can always draw anything the way you see it for now. Then later you can pay attention to details. Okay, so let's do this. So I'm going to increase the speed of the video now so that I won't waste much of your time. At least you've gotten a hold of what we're doing. Okay guys, so that was it for the hair. So now we want to see the shape we've made so far. Now this is the layer for the reference picture. So if I should toggle this off, now we can see our own shape that we've created. So I think this looks nice so far. So I've gotten a lot of requests from people to show them how I create the brush I use to make my line art. I think I did a video on that, but I'll still do that again. So the brush I use is very simple. You can create it in less than 30 seconds. So select the paintbrush tool, come over to your brush panel. If you can't find the brush panel, come over to Windows, then all the panels you need are here. The brush, select it, and then it comes out. So click here, select new brush, select calligraphic brush, okay. Then it brings up this box. Change this to 3, change this to pressure. This is if you're using a pen tablet. I'm using a pen tablet, so this means I control the size of the brush. That's just what it means. Variation, change it to 3 also. So now let me show you what this does. Now if I press down hard, you see the size. If I release, so you see the size of the brush is not equal. I can just make this. I control the size of the brush. So if I press down hard, you see, if I release it a little bit, so that's just what the pressure does. So if you're using a pressure sensitive brush, that's what you're going to be able to do. Alright, so let's create this. So you have to follow what I'm doing. We're trying to draw the eyes now. So you can see I can't continue. Just like what I showed you, I want to make this a complete shape. I want to bring this up to this point, but I can't do it. And this is because if you double click on here, you can see that this thing is not selected. But if I select it now, I can be able to continue with this particular shape. So I hope you see what we did there. Alright, I don't like this, so let me just do it well. So the thing you have to make sure, I always say this in my video, please, anywhere you know you're going to be filling with a different color. Let's say for the eyes now, the eyes is going to be a different color from the face. Please make sure it's a complete shape. And when I mean complete shape, I mean those lines you're making, make sure they overlap each other. Please, very important. So this is too high for me. Let's just reduce it. Let me just somewhere here. Okay. This does not have to go over. So just bring it here. Yeah, that's it. So we created this with the with the paintbrush tool. Now for those using the pen tool and you can't use the brush tool to do this, let me show you how to do it. Now with your pen tool, just create a shape like this. So you can see I want this to stop now. Like I don't want this to continue. This is the shape I need now. So just hold Control and click. It will deselect it. Now if you go over to your selection tool, you can easily select it and make any changes you want to it. Now you see I can't continue. But if it's something that I'm creating a shape and I want to still continue with this, I can just click on this. See, it comes back, and then I will trace it back. Let's zoom out, and then you see we have a stroke. But if I should flip this, so if you're using your pen tool, you can easily do this same thing, but with this same thing here. So I think this looks nice. And then here too, let's change this to stroke so that we see what we are doing. So fill it. Okay, so for here we do the same thing. you want to adjust any anchor point, hold Control, click on the anchor point, and then you can make changes to it. Alright, so if you follow me closely, you can see the places I'm drawing out. So that's the same thing you should do. Okay, so let's toggle this off. You can see, so if you're using the pen tool or whichever tool you're using, you can easily get almost the same result. Alright, so now for the eyes, we need those dark areas, we need to take care of it. So we have a dark area here. So draw this and yeah, so as simple as that. So same thing here, just complete this. Sorry, complete this. Alright, so I think this is too much. Let me just adjust this. So it's really simple. Yours does not have to be as okay as mine. You can always just adjust it. So let's delete this. I want to do this with the brush too. So yeah, I think this works for me. Please, this is not a must. You must not include this particular one. So you can always ignore that. But if you feel you need to do it, then it's fine. And for the nose, just draw it out. So this same thing, if you want to achieve it with the pen tool, so let's go back. Let's say we just want it here, or let's just go back in time. We want to do this with the pen tool. So with your pen tool, just draw this out. So Control, click anywhere. So I think this stroke is too tiny for me. As a beginner, I always advise people use thick strokes, because you'll be using lesser number of color layers when shading. So if you use thick strokes, it won't really be that noticeable. So this is too thick, thin for me. If you click on this, make sure it's selected. You need to select something before you can make changes to it. Now increase the stroke size, and then come over to the width profile. Select the first one so it looks like a brush. So either way, you still get the same result. So we'll do the same thing here. So let's Control, click and adjust. So select this 2, then same thing. So if you check one, but still getting almost the same result. Alright, you get the gist now. For the hair, I use a separate brush for it. So pen tool, you create, then select the 4 of this width profile, choose the first one. It looks like brush. Now what do? Hold Control and Alt to duplicate. So this is how you do it if you're using a mouse. You can just select this, then tilt it how you want if you feel you're not getting the actual result. So you do this to fill up this. So that's how you do it. But if you're using a pen tablet, this is how I create hairbrush I use. So with your pen tool, just make a shape. Hold shift to make sure it's straight. Click anywhere. Select this. Go over to your brush panel. Just change the width profile first to this. The first one. Drag it in, and then art brush. tint, change this to tint. The reason you're changing it to tint is because if you want to use a separate color that is not black, you will not be able to do it if you don't change this to tint. So hit OK. So you can now delete this. Select this, select your brush tool, and then so if you notice it's conflicting. So I don't want it to, I just want to keep making brush strokes without, let's say I want to make another stroke here, it's going to continue with this, which is not what I want. So double click on this, deselect this. So now I can easily create. So I showed you how to do it using the pen tool, so you can easily do that if you're using the pen tool. But I'm using the pencil tool and the pen tablet, so I think this works for me. Then you come over to this side, do the same thing. So try to curve it so it doesn't look all that straight. Alright, I think this works for me. You can always check your work. Alright, you need the line there. You need the line here, sorry. What else? Alright, for the eyebrow, so you can just follow what I'm doing. Fill it with black. Okay. For those using the pen tool, alright, just click and drag, curve, click. If you notice, I'm only drawing those places that are really dark. Please, that's what you should do. But as a beginner, you can make everything black if you want. So, alright, so we have almost the same result. Now for the eyes, simple. I'll show you two ways to do this. With your pencil to just map it out. However your hands are steady, you can do it. Yeah, I think this works. But if you want to be precise, come over to click and hold, come over to your ellipse tool, hold shift to create a circle. Change this to stroke so that you see what you are doing. Select, then position it where you want. Swap this back to just the fill. Then with your pencil tool, you can cut out. I know you'll be wondering what I did here. Let me take that back. Remember I said double click. Make sure you can edit selected part. Just come over to any point and just continue this way. Join it back here. But if you feel this is too tricky for you, select this. I'll show you a simple method to cut this out. Now go over to your shape builder tool, hold alt. We don't need this, just click, it goes away. We don't need this, click, it goes away, and you still have your shape. So yeah, that's it. So let's complete other part of the sketch. You've already seen the basics, so whatever I'm going to be doing now, you already know how to do it. I'm going to speed this video up so that I can be able to complete the sketch. Alright, I had to pause it so I could go do something. Alright, for the teeth, I've had people make a lot of mistakes when drawing the teeth. Please, when you're making your line art, you have to investigate. Make sure these lines are closing. We are going to be adding colors to it. If it's not closed, then you can't add a color to it. You see what I'm saying along the line. Let's see how far we've gone. So I think this looks nice. This is not closed. If you notice, this place is open. Any color I add here goes into the surrounding. So let's add a shape here. We're going to be filling white here, so we have to make sure there is nothing blocking this. We have a button here. You can ignore this if you want. And then button has, I think, 4 whatever. Alright, so this is it. Then for the teeth, please, for now you're permitted to, you can reduce the size of your brush. So any place you notice that is really dark, you can just make it black. But for the gum, please do not make it black. Or you can make here black, which is the tongue for now. So let's just do that. Please, this is the teeth. You have to make sure you draw it well. You can decide to stop here and go back. I don't know if you get, or you continue. Alright, we have that. So let's do for the downside. You can see where I'm stopping. The rest I will use the brush to finish it up. So let's fill this black. So we check. Alright, this looks nice. So for here, we use black to fill this. Please don't use black for the gum for now. Alright, now over to our brush tool. Let's reduce the size. Okay. You can see what I'm doing. Follow it this way, sorry. Please, yours does not have to be perfect. As a beginner, you have enough room for mistakes. But the more you practice, then you keep learning. So I hope you get the gist now. I'm going to speed it up back so that I can complete this. Alright guys, now we have our sketch or line art or whatever you want to call it. So this is the base of everything. If you're able to know how to sketch properly, like make your line art, then shading will be a whole lot easier for you. So the next thing you want to do now is to make this a particular shape. We're going to group everything, and there's a way to do it. If you notice, if you select each and every one of this, you have a single shape. So first thing you want to do, please investigate check, make sure this is a closed shape, make sure there is no gap between, make sure there is no gap, everything is closed, please. My gap, let me show you what I mean. Let's say maybe you did not complete this, you left it somewhere. This is a gap. If you're filling this, it's not going to fill this, it will fill both this and this as a particular shape. So please investigate, and then when you're sure everything is in place, back to your selection to select everything. You don't select everything, just outside click and drag over it, then expand this. If you notice now, our fill question mark, because we have some shapes that are fill and some that are stroke. Same thing for the stroke, some are stroke, some are fill. So what you want to do, want to make this, want to expand this, so all of them will be fill. So object, expand appearance, then go back and expand. So now that we've expanded, the next thing you want to do is to go to your pathfinder to and make this a particular shape, so that when I select this, it selects everything. So click on merge, it's going to merge everything into one shape. So if I click on this, you can see everything is selected. Okay, so duplicate your line. I always like to name whatever I'm working on line art. So to change the name of any layer, just double click on it, then give it whatever name you want. So let's duplicate this. Sorry, just click and drag to this place where you see this file. It's going to duplicate. Lock your first layer, then on the second layer we're going to be adding our base color. So you can choose any color of your choice. You can select the skin color and use, you can use green, then later you change, but I prefer to use the skin color. Now how do you get your skin color? Bring the opacity back to 100, please. Sorry, select the picture, bring the opacity back to 100. Avoid, this is the highlight. The highlight is where the light rays are hitting. This is where you have like the brighter colors. Avoid it. So with your eyedropper to come over to somewhere here. Yeah, I think this works for me. Avoid this. You can always come over to somewhere here and pick your color. Alright, with your rectangle to zoom out, just draw a rectangle. Go over to this layer, draw a rectangle over it. Now we need to bring this down. There are two ways to do it. Either you drag it down or you hold Ctrl Shift and then the left bracket, it brings it down. Alright, so select everything. This color is too dark for me a little bit. Select it, double click on this, and let's tweak it a little bit, take it up a little bit. You can edit it here, or you go over to edit color, the color with preset, and then color harmony. So this is where I love to edit. Reduce the saturation a bit, the brightness, increase it a bit. Yeah. So instead of double clicking and doing it, use this other method I just showed you. This is what I use. I think this base color is okay for me. Select everything, pathfinder, then merge. It's going to make everything a particular shape. Now the first thing you want to do is see in a group. Select this group or drag over it, or click on anything. It's going to select everything since they are in a group. Right click on group. Now any shape that is black, I'm going to be deleting it. I don't need it. So you have to select the first one. I selected the first one, select it, then drag it down till you see the last, okay, this is the last black shape. Hold Shift, click on this, it selects everything, drag it and delete. We don't need it. So this is what we need. This is our base color now. We select this, we don't need this. All right, so yeah, we have our base color. Now we want to give each and every shape its own color. The cloth is not going to be the same color with this, so the easiest way to do this is to lock this layer, then duplicate your base color. So hold Control and Alt, then click and drag out, so you have a copy of your base, your reference picture. Now unlock this layer. Now from here you can easily see the color you're picking. So for the eyes, just give it any color. You want to select more than one thing at once, hold Shift and keep selecting. So we select this, Ctrl G to group. Then let me show you something so you don't get confused. Hold Ctrl Shift and right, like the closing bracket, the one on the right, is going to bring it to the top. Double click, just give it a color somewhere here, don't give it white, then lock it. So we have for the eyes now. For the teeth, you do the same thing, since it's the same color. As a beginner, please, you're free to make mistakes, you're free to do whatever you want. There is room for mistakes. So when you select all this, hold Ctrl G to group. Okay, it's already at the top. Same thing, double click and then probably give it a color here, then you lock it. All right, what else? The lips. Okay, for the gum, just select all. Since the gum is dark, group this and then just bring it down a little bit here, and then I think somewhere here should do. Yeah, lock that. So like I said before, please do not give it black, no. For the upper lips, make sure you go down a little bit, then drag it down. This works. Lower lips, Control Shift, bring it to the top. So you can decide to, if you want a little bit pink lips or anything, just somewhere here should do. So I think this is okay. Then for the clothes, I think here is white, the whole of it. We don't need this. We don't need this. Alright. We probably don't need this. Now watch, anything you're going to be doing, make sure, note this line. This is where your artboard ends. So anything you're doing below this line, when you're exporting, you're going to be selecting use artboard. So anything outside this artboard will not come into play. So just click and drag over this, or you can select one, whichever way you want. So group this, you can drag it up. So let's probably give it white too. Then for the final part, this, I've shown you how to select. Just hold Shift, group this, and yeah, you can eyedropper to just pick this color. Just play around with it. When you're satisfied, right? And for the face, okay, we don't need this. We don't need this. Alright, just drag over this. I think we have just the face only. If you want to investigate if it's just the face that you're selecting, hold Control. It's going to just click on it to show you where you're selecting. So just group this. Where do we have this? Okay, we have this here for the clothes. So we can just move it here and I give it. And for this one, same thing, just move it here. Remember, this is where you have the white, this thing for the clothes. Alright, so we have our base colors for everything now. So you can just delete this. So So if you've gotten up to this point, and I think a lot of you might not really get it to this level like the way mine is, but with practice you'll be able to understand everything and how it works. So the next thing you want to do now is you can start wherever you want. You can start from the teeth or the eyes or the clothes, whichever one works for you, fine. Alright, so create a new layer. Now which one on top of your line as your let's call this base color. So on top of this base color, sorry, my bad, color. So on top of this, create a new layer. Let's say we want to start with the eyes. This is how I draw. So unlock this, make sure everything is unlocked here. So click on this, it's going to select just the group for the eyes. So come over here where you see this red, this thing, drag it to this place, then lock this layer. Now we have just our eyes to work on. So as a beginner, this is the most simple way to draw your eyes. Just create, please be on this black line, don't exceed it. If you exceed it, it's going to come out. Just give it a darker color, or you can make this a little bit darker. So as a beginner, you can be using this style. This is accepted. Simple. So if by mistake maybe you go over this, it's still fine. There's a way to cut this out, just like I showed you before. Unlock your base color layer, hold shift and click on this. It's going to select both of them. Go over to your shape builder tool, hold alt, just click, it goes away. But the thing about this is you can see I have extra shapes now, which is this and this. So let's do it the proper way. Click on this, Ctrl 8, it becomes a compound shape. So if I hold shift and click on this, and then with your shape builder to hold alt, if you click this, you can see you still have your shape. So convert, if you want to cut out using that method, convert to compound shape first before you cut out. So let's group this since they are the same. So that's it for the eyes. Now next is you can choose the mouth. Now for the mouth, you know we have the teeth, the gum, the upper lips and lower lips. So you click, hold shift, click, 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 come over here and just drag it in. Or if you don't want to do it that way, you can come over and select it one on one, whichever way you want. Drag it in, drag it in, it still works. Alright, let's start with the upper lips. So you have to locate it, click on this upper lips, let's bring it to the top. You can lock other layers so that you don't select them by mistake. So switch this off, just note places that are dark. So the lower side is dark, so simple. Give it a darker color. So for now I'll be using between 1 to 3 color layers for anything I'm working on. As a beginner, you don't have to use too many color layers so you don't get confused. Now we have ones that went over, same thing I showed you. Select the first, convert to compound shape, Ctrl 8 or CMD 8 on the Mac, then hold shift, select the base color tool, shape builder tool, then you cut this out. So I think you get the gist now. So I will complete the rest for the mouth so I don't end up wasting your time. You can group this. So I know you might be wondering why I'm doing this. Please do not, let me read. Just note those places that are very dark. That's where you put your shadow. And then the highlight is the places that are brighter. So you see what I did. Please just use curves. It makes it look okay. And you can, with curves, you can use lesser number of color layers and still get a very nice result. So I think we have one more here. Simple. Or still just play around with it. You can use the pen tool to group this, select this, and then let's cut out the places we don't want. Alright, deselect, you can just click out anywhere, then select the new shape we just made, give it a darker color. Please, someone here, something I forgot. People ask me like how I select my color. So anywhere your base color is, there is a trick I use and it works. Create a line from this point, this white point, to the black point that goes through, that passes through that base color. So if I'm to create a line, it's going to go this way, right? So any color I'm picking for the shadow or the midtone has to fall between this line here. Then for the highlight, falls between here. So this trick is it's quite simple and it works. So I think somewhere here. Alright, for your highlight, you can still give highlight here, but if you notice our upper lips, there is no highlight, so that's why I just stopped that here. Alright, for the lower lips, toggle the base color off, and then the highlight is somewhere here. As a beginner, it's not a must that you work with highlights. You can ignore it. So just like I said, select your base color, and now the trick is, remember, this way, right? So let's go up. I think somewhere here should work for us. So yeah, that's it. But I don't advise you start playing around with too many colors for now. No. So let's just get rid of this. We don't really need it for now. So as a beginner, let's just stick with one color layer. For the lips, we group these two. Next thing, the teeth, right? Bring it up. For the gum, you can add, you can just play around with colors here, just to make it okay. So you give it, select the base color. Anything you're doing, select the base color first, then just go down a bit. Yeah, just play around with it. You can see what I'm doing. So you can do yours the way you want. It's not a must that you follow my pattern. So select all of this, hold shift or control and click on any of them, then group it. Select it to the base color and group it. Now the final one is the teeth. You can leave it this way, or you just add one color layer. Simple, just this way. Please, as a beginner, you don't really have to follow the picture the way it is. No, you're free to copy whatever style you see online, you understand, and then at the point you're going to have to come up with your own style. So just like I showed you, you see where I stopped at the black line art. The line art serves as a guide. So select these two things, group, select with your base color, just like I showed you. Just cut out the excess part, hold Alt, cut out the excess part, deselect, select it and give it a base color. Simple, that's it. So you group these two and then unlock every other thing. So the reason why I group this the way it is, so that any place I'm working on, I will know that okay, any change I want to make to anything, I can easily come over and know where to work with. Alright, that's it for the mouth. Now the next thing is I think the clothes. So unlock this, select the clothes, then drag it in. So now I think we are left with just this thing. So where do we start? White, right? Okay. So toggle this off. Now just note where you have places that are a little bit darker. Let me show you. So you see, here is a little bit dark, here is a little bit dark, here is a little bit dark. So simple. Follow it. Try to curve. I don't know if you get. Don't just draw it this way. No. Play around with curves. So now that we have the two places that are a little bit darker, group this. Just bring down the color a little bit. Don't come this way. Just you're working with white, stick to this line. I think this works for me. Select with the base color. Okay, the base color is locked. Unlock it. Select with it, and then Alt. Just click and drag the place you don't want. That's it. Group this. Then for the final part, which is this, let's lock it so we don't. I always lock it so I don't end up selecting it by mistake. Please, all these things I'm doing, you can do it with the pen too, just to click and curve if you have to. So same thing, you note the places that are really dark. Simple. So don't worry about the excesses, we'll take care of it later. The main thing is noting those places that are really dark. Remember, we're working with one color layer, so you have limited room for colors. So this is a little bit dark. Please, this is, I'm drawing based on what I feel, like places I feel like they are really dark. You might see something different. I don't know if you get. So if you notice any other place I skipped, you can add it to yours. That's why everybody's picture cannot be the same. So just select the shapes you made, group them, select eyedropper to eye on your keyboard, select your base color, and then just go down a little bit. Remember, I said if you're going to be selecting your colors, draw an imaginary line that runs from white to black through your base color. So it's going to go this way. So you have to select somewhere here. Don't go too far. Don't go too far. Alright, select this. It's a little bit too dark for me. Let me take it up a little bit. Okay, select it first, then take it up a little bit. Yeah, I think this works for me. So you can always adjust. Alright, select the two of them, then delete the excesses. Delete this, delete this, or delete this, delete this. Alright, now I will advise you add highlights to this. There's something I've always talked about in my videos. It's called I call it negative space, but I don't know if other people use that term. So make sure that anywhere you're living, that there is no make sure there is no place like space with too, how do I put it, make sure you don't have any place where there is too much space. That's just it. Try to always fill it with colors. So let's work on the highlights for this. Just note those places that are really bright. We have here, we have here, we have here. So let's take care of it. We have here. So sorry. We have here. Try this. Then we have finally here. So you can still use lesser number of color layers and still get a very nice result. So select this and group eyedropper tool. Since we're adding highlights, we don't go down, we go up. So follow your imaginary line. Yeah, I think this is okay for me. Select this, select your base color, then cut out the excesses. Okay. Remember to shift. I told you I use the hand to just hold your space bar on your keyboard and then cut this out. So last but not the least, let's group this. Last but not the least is the skin or the face, whichever one you want to call it. So let's just call it skin. Leave your base color here, eyedropper to pick the base of your face. Now we want to shade this, so you toggle this off and then I'll show you how to go about this. Alright, so for the skin, you have to know where to start. For me, I start from, if I'm drawing a picture now, I start from the mid-tone, shadow, down to the highlight. As a beginner, it's advisable to start from the shadow. That way you see what you're doing. So where is your shadow? Anywhere that is really dark, somewhere here, here, that's your shadow. We didn't take care of this. Alright, just create a new layer. Brush, select this hair brush and then black, sorry. So just create this. Let's use this. So since the entire place is almost black, please make sure it doesn't go over because this layer is at the top. So anything you're doing on this layer is going to overshadow every other thing. Alright, let's just you don't necessarily have to do this, it's not a must. Just stick to what you have before. Select everything, expand, group it, and then just drag it into your line art. That's all. You can delete the layer if you want. Let's delete it. So back to the skin. Alright, since we've known what our shadow is, highlight is just the spaces that are really bright. That's just it. So you have to know the number of color layers you'll be using. I mean, it's optional, but I think we'll be using about 3 or 4 here, depending. let's just start with the shadows. So like I said, please try to curve. I don't know if you get, try to just curve, don't draw it exactly the way it is. Try to curve. I hope you see what I'm doing. Make curve so that it looks nice. Don't worry about the color, you can always change it. So we have this now. Eyedropper tool, pick your base color, and then just the trick I showed you. Now it has to go this way. So the base color, your shadow has to be very dark, so you can come, I think somewhere here should go. Alright, so just places that are really dark, please. Those are the places you take care of. Use curves, very very important. That way, even if you use lesser number of color layers, it will still make sense. Okay, then you come over here. Alright. Okay, I think that's it. These are not really that dark. Alright, so here, remember you can use the pen tool for this. Please, the pen tool is really easy. Just click, drag. Let's adjust this a bit. I'm using the pen tool now, so you don't get lost. Please, it's almost the same thing, just that there is more flexibility when it comes to the pencil tool and drawing with the drawing tab. That's just the difference. So just give this the feel, so you have almost the same thing. So this place is dark, I hope you can see. So simple, just that dark area, that's where you have your shadow. Simple. Alright, so you always toggle on and off to see how far you've gone. Same thing for here. Or if you can see the curves I'm using, it's not there, but you just have to visualize it in your head and know where to curve. This way it gives your artwork a different kind of look. All the same, you're aiming to make it better. So as a beginner, I advise use curves, very important. So you can see I'm not drawing the whole thing. The mid-tone will come in where I'll have to do that. Sorry, let me adjust this a bit. So if you ever draw lines and you feel like they are not smooth, you can adjust it yourself, or double click, increase the fidelity, and you will see a very good result. Let's say you try to do that one more time. This is a little bit better. So reduce that back. I like to keep it here so I'm having like 50% control over the brush. So same thing for here. Alright, for the beard, do the same thing. Alright, let's just stop somewhere here. You can see where I'm drawing out. Alright. always curve so it looks real. You can do this with the pen too, please. Just that it's going to take you more time using the pen tool. So you can see I made a mistake. I was supposed to continue, but I didn't. Ctrl Z to undo, then simple. Continue from where you stopped. Those dark places, make sure you show it. Simple. So I think that's all. Okay, remaining here. Alright, you can see I'm drawing over here, but it's not showing. This is because the mouth is above it, so it will not show. Any layer you have at the top, that's what will show. Okay, we have our shadow now. The next thing you want to add is your mid-tone. The mid-tone is you can have as many mid-tone as you want, but it's going to be between your base color and your shadow. So let's select everything, group it, just lock this layer, create a new layer below this. So we have our shadow at the top, this is our base color, so mid-tone has to be in between. Now which one is your mid-tone? This is just that color that is complementing your shadow. Simple. This is the color I'm talking about. Okay. So just follow me so you see what I'm doing. Remember, as I'm drawing, I'm trying to trace it back to the first shape I made. So anything I'm drawing now, I have to trace it back to that first point I made. So now I'm going back. So note these dark places. So toggle this to stroke so that you see what you're doing. Remember, we're using few color layers, so when you advance you can be able to add more. So you notice when I'm coming down to the first distance, you know, when I come close, let's say this is somewhere here. So when I come close, you see it creates, you see circle, which means it's going to form a complete shape. So that's just it. So we didn't really get the mid-tone here. Let's take care of this. Alright, same thing with here. Since we are dealing with lesser number of color layers, we have to make sure we are able to get everything as much as we can. Alright, so eyedropper to pick this. So instead of going down like we went, remember you have to go this way. So we just stop somewhere here. I think this works. Not really feeling the color, so somewhere here should do. Yeah, I think this works for me. So next thing you need to do is the next places where you have your highlights. Just follow the mid-tone, it's already there. I hope you see what I'm doing. Sorry, that was too much. Alright, then same thing here. Okay, then for here I hope you see what I just did there. Please use curves. Use curves. Alright. You can always check what you're doing. And we still have here. Drag it down. That was too much. Alright, for the neck, remember I'm following places that are close to the shadow. Okay, I think we have almost everything. The shadow seems too dark for me. Ctrl H. So let me just reduce it a bit. Object, make sure it's selected. Ctrl H to hide your edges. Or edit color with presets. Just increase. Just try an error. Let's try 30 should be okay. And you can always check this. Okay, let's try 32. Alright, I think 32 works for me. Yeah, this is way better. Yeah, so I think this is way better. So let's complete the mid-tone. So same thing, follow this. So just like I said, it's the color that complements your shadow. Alright, follow this the way okay. Right, I think let's just take this up. Change this to stroke so that you see what you're doing. And okay, this is our mid-tone. Okay, let's just stop here. Sorry, I forgot we already had our mid-tone here. So if you notice, we did not take care of this place for our shadow. So just select your shadow. Let's do this. Alright, then add it to this group. Okay, so back to what we're doing. Let's just take care of everything at once instead of having to do it. I hope you don't get confused, but the trick is just to trace it back to where you started. That's just it, and that's basically what I'm doing. Now I'm doing something on purpose, which I'll explain how to take care of it later. So now notice this place. And when I close this, when I change this to fill, you can see this place is closed. Now instead of having to look for a way to get that place, let me show you what to do. Just create where you want to cut out. So make sure this is, now we have this and this. Make sure they are both either stroke or fill. It has to be one of, you can't be fill and stroke. No. If it's fill, make sure they are both fill. Then Control 8 on your keyboard to turn it to a compound shape. It's going to cut this place out. Or you can just hold your shape builder tool and cut it out. Whichever you want, it still works, but it's going to still convert it to a compound shape. So I think we've gotten everything. Okay. Here, so let's just take care of this. I hope you see what I'm doing. Please do not use straight lines, or no, try to curve. That way it gives your artwork like a nice look. So if you feel this is too much, you can always come and adjust. Remember, as a beginner, you're free to make mistakes. It doesn't necessarily have to look like mine with your first trial. No. With your first trial. So yeah, this is it. Now the last thing we want to do is our highlight. So far we've used the base color, the mid-tone, and the base color, mid-tone, and the shadow. Now the last but not the least is the highlight. So for the highlight, group this first, then make sure it's below your shadow. Now the last thing is your highlight. So the highlight is basically where you have bright colors. Simple. So this is it. Eyedropper to pick this, then you go up and note, so somewhere here should do, then increase the saturation a bit. So this works, but it's too bright for me. So edit color, select it first, edit color, the color replace, color harmony, then brightness, let's try 62. Then for the saturation, let's increase it a bit, let's try 62 too. 61. Nah, I think 60. I think this is nice. Yeah, I think this works for me. So just adjust it. Adjust. You're free to make adjustments. It's vector art. Nobody is going to start checking. Alright. So you complete this. Control H, so you see what I'm doing. Alright, we don't really have any highlights here, but let's just add. So for here, Same thing, we have a little bit of highlight here. So note where you have your highlights here. So let me show you why it's not advisable to use just straight line. Let's say we want this to be our highlight. I mean, it's nice, this is nice, but let me show you the difference when you use curves. So now if you look at it, so which do you prefer? To me, I feel this is way better. This is too bright. Let me try reducing the opacity. Let's try 70. Yeah, I think this works for me. Alright, so make sure we take care of every other part. Basically anywhere you have bright colors, same here. Even if you don't have highlight in some areas, you need to add so that it brings out the beauty of your picture. So we add here. Okay, so we're almost done with this, and yeah, so I believe by now you should be able to at least come up with a nice vector art. No matter how amateur it might look, with practice you will definitely understand how it really works. So alright, let's move this right. So you're free to adjust wherever you feel you need to. So just like I said, you don't really have to add highlights everywhere, but places where you feel it should be, you need to add it so it brings out the quality of your picture. So these places I'm adding are not really that bright, but it's going to bring out the quality of the picture. So group, our mid-tone, we need to alright, so this is our skin, and you add your base color down. So you can still add more highlights if you feel there is need for it. So for me, I feel like there is need for more highlights so the quality of the picture comes out more. So we have here, we have here, we have a little bit here, we have a little bit here. So yeah, I think that's it for the highlight. So these places we just drew, same thing, go up, increase the saturation a bit, go up, increase the saturation a bit. I'm not really okay with this. I drop out to Ctrl H to hide your edges. So I think this works more for me. So adjust those parts that exceed it. Let's adjust this. So for places like this, reduce the opacity to strike 50. Now 70. I think that works for me. So adjust this so it lines up. Alright guys, so yeah, group this and then add it to your skin, but it has to be on top here. That's the only way to be visible. If you take this down, then it won't show. If you take this down, then it won't show. So it has to be at the top. Alright, that's for the skin. Then for the hair, let's call this hair, bring it to the top, brush to select the brush you created. Let's pick any random color, but I feel you need to sample the color of the hair. Let's sample this color. Okay, let's just edit this a little bit. Alright, so first thing, let's call this all. Unlock all this, add it here. So now here is our picture, here is the reference. Here is our picture, here is the reference. So for the hair, it's just simple. Just create curves here. You can always reduce the opacity a little bit for places you feel you need to. Okay guys, so that's it for the hair. So let's drag this in. And for the eye details, you can do whatever you want, or you can follow the pattern of the eye. So let me just show you. It's simple. We just have this. We'll have this. I think we have a little one here. So it's as simple as that. I think let's reduce the opacity by 80%. Then this, let's reduce the opacity by 42 because it's not really that visible. Yeah, so this is it for the eye details. Then the last thing you want to do is your background. So BG, think anything. Now you can, with your rectangle, to play around whichever color you want. Let's just try this. So if this works for you, fine, but you need a color that complements your art. So for me, I think this is really okay. You can still use white or anything you want to do. So okay guys, so you were done with that. Now the next thing you want to do is to save your file. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. You have to save before you immediately you start your drawing. You need to start saving, you understand, so that if anything goes wrong, you still have your master file. So how to save is this: you come over to File, Save As. Remember, we put Practice, then select Illustrator. This is the name of our file. Select where you want to save it, then hit Save. I already saved it, so let me just replace it. And then when you want to export your pictures, so this should be ticked when you want to do your script PDF compatible file. We don't need that, and it increases the file size, so we don't need that. Untick it. Then if you want to include the file of like your reference picture, then tick this, so it will be in the Illustrator master file. So if you are to lose the picture, you still have it here. So okay, now the final thing is how to export your picture. Now you have your picture, you want to post it online or anything. Now note, we have places like this where we might not want. Remember, I told you need to note this line, your artboard line. That's where you need. So File, Export As. Now put the name of your file, select JPEG, then use tick artboard. So it's going to cut out everything that is outside this artboard. Then hit Export. Now this is my settings. Use baseline standard. I use my resolution, I leave it at 300 ppi. Then anti-aliasing, put in none. Then tick this so that it will retain this color no matter where you take this picture to. So hit Save. So guys, that's it, and that's how to save the picture you just worked on. So that's it guys. I hope this video really helps, and if it does, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Yeah, that's it. So thank you guys for watching. See you in the next tutorial.